Hello everyone, welcome to AWS Data Engineering training classes. Yesterday we started with EC2, that is Elastic Compute Cloud. We launched our first remote server and we did few configuration like networking details, storage detail and login details, which type of operating system we want, and the most important is how to remotely connect to your server, because without access there is no point, right? So till login we covered yesterday. We will be covering few more advanced topics today. So let's have a quick look at the agenda. So the agenda for today's class is AWS CLI, that is command line interface. We'll throw more light on that. IAM role for EC2 instances, security group for EC2 instance, volume and snapshots, creating AMI, that's nothing but Amazon Machine Image, and creating EC2 instance alarms. There's a different purpose of each and every service, and we will talk about all these things practically. Okay, so before we start, I have to log in into my account so that we can start our instance. So let me log in. It will ask for the code 512478. So yesterday we launched our first instance, and before closing the call, we stopped that instance, right? So the very first thing I will do is I will be starting that instance. So whatever are the recently visited services, those will be displayed on your home page. From there you can access. You can always go to the search bar and then search for that service. So click on instances. You will find one in stopped state. You see that. We'll select this instance state and start. Okay, let it start. It will take around 1 or 2 minutes. In the meantime, I'm coming back to PDF and we'll talk about what exactly is CLI. Okay, so till now what we are doing is we are logging into AWS console on the browser and we are doing everything, right? We are creating a role, we are creating a user, we are creating a group, we are creating a policy, we are launching our server. That is one way of doing the things. Not everyone is logging into UI to do the things. There are many more ways. Another way is using AWS CLI, you can do everything. CLI stands for command line interface. That means the things you are doing through UI, the same thing you can do through commands as well. If I compare with Linux operating system, we can create a directory with the name with the command mkdir and it will create a directory for us, right? But on Windows, how do we do that? Or even Linux, right? Even suppose Ubuntu or Red Hat or any other operating system, if you have a user interface, you can right click, create a new folder, give a meaningful name. You can do that also. And technically, behind the scene, there is no difference. Both are like same directory. So we can do each and everything through the commands as well. And for each and every AWS service, different commands are available. Now the thing is, do I need to remember those commands? Do I need to learn those commands? No, that's not required, and neither that's possible, because there are hundreds of services and every service will have like 10, 20, 30 commands. So definitely not possible. But whenever you need it, right? Suppose let's talk about S3. Suppose I would like to do something on S3, but not through the console. Rather, I would like to do it through the commands. So what I will do is let's go to Google and search for AWS S3 commands. Okay, AWS S3 CLI commands. So as I told you, you don't have to remember it. As and when required, you can go to Google and find out the basic commands. So we'll click on this and I will explain what are the different commands available. So majorly, what different type of things you can think about S3? Maybe you would like to list the buckets, how many buckets are available, or you may be listing the content of the bucket, or you may be creating a new bucket, or I would say you may be deleting a particular object from the bucket, or you may be deleting the bucket itself, or you may be thinking about copying the data from one bucket to another bucket. These are the very, you can say, common type of use case. So let's look at this. This is S3 CLI page, and let me quickly, you can see this. CP command is there. As the name indicates, CP is for copy, MV is for move, RM is for remove, and you can find few more. MB. MB stand for make bucket. Just like to create a directory in Linux, we type mkdir. Similarly, if you want to create a bucket using commands, MB is the command name. RB is remove bucket. LS is listing. So you don't have to remember it. Okay. So we'll try this. We'll try these commands and how to do that. Let me check if my instance is in running state. Okay, perfect. It's running and all status check passed. That's good. So either I can connect through the putty as we discussed yesterday, or the more convenient way is simply click on connect and scroll down, connect. That's all. It will be open the terminal on the browser itself. That's more convenient. I don't have to enter any username, IP address, password, nothing. It will directly connect and we will do. Okay, we are good. So if I want to clear my screen, first of all, I will type clear and AWS space S3 space. AWS S3 is like that means you want to do something on S3. Now, what exactly you want to do on S3? I will start with listing. First of all, I would like to display the buckets available in my account. I will say ls. Enter. It is saying unable to locate credential. You can configure credentials by running this command. Any idea, any guess why I'm getting this error? Any guess why I'm not able to execute this command? I we talked about this thing yesterday. Okay, let me remind you. There is no IAM role associated with our server. That's why. That means you do not hold any type of permission at this point of time. That's why you cannot do anything on AWS side. That's why it is saying unable to locate credential. So the very first thing we will do is we will link the IAM role with our server, and after that we'll come back here. Okay. So I'm going back to the first tab. Click on instant. Click on action and security. Okay, and modify IAM role. Okay. So IAM role we created that day, it's there. It's automatically displaying. EC2 server IAM role. If you remember in our first class when we were talking about IAM roles, users, groups, policies, that day we created this role. Today I am associating this role with my server. So once you associate this, now there are some permission associated with your server, and then you can try. I don't exactly remember what type of permission I allowed that day, but let's try. If we will get some error, we'll go back to IAM and we'll make the required changes in the permissions. So I'm coming back to terminal and let's try to run the same command again. Perfect, it's working. You see that it's displaying both the buckets name. My first S3 bucket nearest 864, that's the one bucket, and it is the date and time when it was created. It was created on 12th of December, and static website demo, it was created on 13th of December. Okay, so this is about listing the bucket only. If you would like to display the content of the bucket, even that's possible. So how to do that? I don't remember the commands. I will check it out. So ls command was there, right? Let's check it out somewhere down. Ls, okay. S3 and then S3 URI. Basically, you have to provide this bucket name if you want to see the content. Let's check this out. AWS S3 ls and then S3 colon double slash. I don't exactly remember how to do that, but let's try. My bad. Okay, you can see that. So AWS S3 ls, then S3 colon double slash your bucket name. It will display the content of the bucket. Inside this bucket, there's a folder with the name CSS. Apart from that, codebuild.pdf, sample department data.csv, and sample employee data.csv is there. Similarly, if you will check this content of your static file, static website, it will display a lot of things. There are a few HTML files and there are a few folders as well, right? Let's quickly do that. You can see that all these things which are ending with the slash, those are folders: css, img, js, lib, mail, and scss. Apart from that, whatever else is there, those are my files. Jpg file there is there, about.html, blog html, contact html, and the main file index.html is also there. Okay, so this way you can do the listing. What about other things? Can I remove bucket? Can I create bucket? There are so many things, right? Let's try that. I will try to create a bucket. So AWS S3 MB for make bucket, and bucket name. So test bucket CLI invalid argument type. What we have to give, like S3 colon like that, S3 colon double slash like this. Okay, perfect. Command is correct. There is no issue in the command, but you see this message. Make bucket failed. Why? An error occurred, access denied. When calling the create bucket operation, this user, right, EC2 server IAM role is not authorized to perform S3 create bucket on this particular resource. Now we have to go back to IAM role. So IAM role is associated with your server, but that IAM role is having permission, I think read only permission. That's why you are able to list the bucket, you are able to see the content of the bucket, but you are not able to create a new bucket because that permission is not there. So as I explained you in our earlier classes,